Welcome to season 3 episode 5 of Surviving Nairobi. Kama kawaida, it's your boy Hafare aka Ashilari aka Senor Sukiyaki aka the Buttinator aka the Afternoon Farmer aka Western Plastic aka Mongolia's Minister of Tourism aka Fat Papi aka Mr. Mkuki Njamanyata. And finally, for this season, it's your divorced uncle. Your auntie at least ameanza kuniongelesha. Ame reply 1 or 2 WhatsApp. Very cold, but at least you're making headway.
Umefunguliwa.
Hajafunga duka. Hajaskiza huda. Exactly. And again, back to normal sasa. No more guest hosts. Look who's back.
Gang. What's up, guys? It's been a while. Again, nasikia ni kama nilikuwa nimeacha for 2 years. I'm super excited to be in this new environment. Happy. I'm sure Hafari told you about the reason behind my absence. Nilikuwa nimeenda Ivory Coast for the Grand Bassam Festival. It was the first edition. It was quite the experience because I'm an English-speaking Kenyan, African rather, and I visited a French-speaking African country. It was quite challenging yet interesting. Challenging in every positive way possible and every positive way you can imagine. The festival itself was, to be honest, I was scared. When you're told, Haya, get your passport ready. First of all, I didn't have a passport. I had to be Kenyan enough to get a passport.
Please tell them Naya looks idea.
Hafare.
Yeah.
Bedel, has one of your AKAs has been Big Daddy something, right?
Yes.
Bedel, he lived through that AKA. Because I remember calling Hafare. I was at the immigration offices and I'm like, Aki, you have to do something. Please call one of your aunties. Wambio wakuja hapa na their Prados, their, G-Wagons, make something happen. Hafare was like, give me a minute. True to his word, a minute later, call this number I've texted you. He'll sort you out. And from there on, it was just like smooth sailing. Because before that, it was so... If you have dealt with Gava offices, you know the drill. I got my passport, COVID test. By the way, the COVID test is the most invasive test I have ever undergone in my whole entire past quarter life century. Because I went there, I had an idea of what goes down, but you never really know until you're there. You're like, okay, Ivy, next. Umeitwa. You go to the office, and then some thing just goes inside your throat, and you're like, I don't even remember the last time this. And then your throat, and then you're like, the next thing is deep inside your nose, and you're like, this is too much. It's the most uncomfortable 15 seconds of your life.
Kuna mademo nasikiza they can't relate. they can't relate, as in hiyo ni
same. Hata mimi sikuwa na relate until then. So tuko the same was up. So after that, got my test the next day. By the way, Nairobi hospital are very, very, it's one of the most convenient, in as much as it's expensive, but it's the most convenient. I'm saying it's expensive because getting a COVID test in Juba is free. It's
Juba?
Yes, it's free under the cost of the government. And I don't understand why it's 10,000 shillings in Kenya. You get?
I understand.
It's super expensive. Now imagine if I didn't have the 10 Gs, I would have just had that event, a life-changing event. So, got the test the next day, got to travel. Fast forward, the festival was great. My fear was how they would receive the music that I play, because I have never been there, so I don't know how the nightlife is like. Yeah, the music scene is like. I can do my research via YouTube, but that's just about it. Kwa ground indifferent. So vitu kwa ground ni different, exactly. So hazikuwa different as such, thank God, because when I got a cab from the airport to the hotel room, they were playing this Diamond song, Yope. So I was like,
wait a minute,
this is good.
They are playing Diamond in a French speaking
By the way,
country.
let me tell you why Diamond is Diamond. Mimi, I never had ranked him. Okay, he's good and all that, I give him his flowers. But when I got to Abidjan, and the first thing, the first song was an Alpha Blondy song, reggae, French reggae. Good, I expected that. But second song, Yope, that song where Diamond has collaborated with a French-speaking artist.
Olem Congolese.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not too far from home. And I got to the stage. Actually, when I got to Abidjan, I had only an hour or less to rest, and I got on stage the next time. So I was tired, but I'm like, you have to work. I worked. I loved it. The reception of the music from the crowd was amazing, very encouraging. And after that, networking and yada yada. I didn't have a lot of time to like explore the country. I had to leave the next day. But I can say for sure that after that, people have been taking me way more seriously. And I'm like, hey, Madam International DJ. And I'm like, yes, speaking. You know? But it's such an honor because you work so hard and then you almost don't see these things coming. And then when they come with a whole... When it rains, it pours, believe me. So after that, it has just been a very, very humbling experience because I didn't see that coming in a pandemic.
Really? In the words of Drake, the first million is the hardest. Getting that, like the first success utapata ni the hardest to get, because once you break through that barrier, each successive one itakuwa easier.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's why I was representing Kenya, representing Nairobi, surviving Nairobi, blah blah blah. It was amazing. Yeah, it was worth it. Kuskip your episode ilikuwa worth it. So, yeah, but I'm here now.
You're back.
Yeah.
So today tuko na two amazing guests with us. Really, really, really amazing women doing really great things out here. And I'm just gonna let them introduce themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. More.
Zina AKA. Right. Yeah. Momo Hoya, founder, Sister Speaks Global and Heels4pads Foundation. Yeah. Thanks for having us. Having me.
I'm also a founder with Mo. So as she said, Sister Speaks and Heels4pads. I go by the name Lush Angela. And I look forward to having a conversation with you guys.
Yes.
So before anything else, before we even go anywhere, I want you guys to tell our listeners like what Sister Speaks is, Heels4pads, what you guys do, and then we can just move forward from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll talk about Sister Speaks and then Mo will tell you about Heels4pads.
That's fine.
So Sister Speaks is actually the first thing that we started, and it focuses on female events. That's a general basis idea, and just creating safe spaces and curating spaces where women can empower each other and feel empowered at the same time, learn from each other, connect with one another. And we've done 2 events, and one that we luckily had the chance to do just before COVID entered Kenya. So it was called the Sisters Market, and we had partnered with Eli Mwenda, who has the Insta Market. So we had the market where all the vendors were female. So it was in celebration of International Women's Day. Then we had a range of speakers like Michelle Ntalami, Ajuma Nasanyana, Amboi Kibue, just talking about various things from business to career and money to, you know, health awareness, all that. And those are the things that we want to continue. We use our digital space in that regard. So we now also have a t-shirt range with positive slogans. So like, don't, God, how can I forget? Don't judge me unless you wear my heels. That kind of t-shirt.
Ooh, that's hard.
And we're trying to push the envelope by just putting the message out there that we need to stand together as women because the table is long and we can all eat from it. And so that's the basis behind Sister Speaks. And Mari will tell you about Heels4pads.
Yeah. So I'll just, take it from where like we do safe spaces. So there are girls and women who could necessarily come to our events, and these are girls and women in marginalized communities. So there are sisters and our moms and our sisters out there, maybe in the semi or arid areas. And one thing that connects all of us is the period. Whether you're a president and you're a woman, whether you're in the village and you're walking naked and you're a girl, somehow you always have the period, right? So the connection that connection, we were like, okay, let's not leave those women or those girls, behind. And we created a creative way, a novel system where we ask people to donate high heels, and then we set up public markets, and then people can come and buy the high heels, but they pay us with sanitary pads. Yes, we are doing something people have been doing before, but now the gist is we have high heels to so many women. It's like a confidence booster. Imagine giving a woman or a girl the right menstrual products. They will feel good about themselves. They feel their self-esteem will be elevated. And basically that's what Heels4pads is all about. So I clothe you with high heels. You feel confident. If you're looking for internship or your first job placement, you're fresh from uni, you get your high heels, and then you impact a girl somewhere in Marsabit or Moyale with sanitary pads. So Heels4pads is basically barter trade, heels and sanitary pads as a mode of transaction.
We all bleed the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of high heels, I believe it is Carrie Bradshaw, and correct me if I'm wrong, who said that Malono Blaniks are better than sex.
I can understand why I should say that, but for me, I find them. I mean, it depends on the type of shoe.
It depends on the type of shoe, and that I believe is such a wonderful thing, because a lot of people, especially people who live in urban areas, you are only exposed to what you see, and what you assume to be normal for you, kitu ya kawaida, is extraordinary out there. So something as simple as just like a packet of pads can change a life huko nje, but for you don't see how that can be. And that's such a noble thing, because period poverty and period shame are actually like a real I think you guys are familiar with the story of Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Yes. And for those who don't know,
sad.
Jacqueline was she 14?
Yes, 14. She died, or rather, she committed
Suicide.
September 6th.
Yeah.
Is when the story broke up.
Yeah. Because of period
Shame, yeah.
Because she wasn't like
She
aqua,
soiled her dress
Yeah.
and the teacher taunted her.
and the classmates too.
Yes.
And she wasn't even aware what's going on. That's the worst part. And the people who are supposed to hold your hand through the whole process are the lead instigators. Wanakushame wewe.
It's
So,
unfortunate, and thinking that it was a female teacher.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
And such a bright young life taken because of something as simple as just
yeah.
kumwambia tu, just the knowledge and the access to such sanitary products. Hakuna.
Actually, for me, I think what really rubbed me, rather what I thought was very unfortunate in that event, was the fact that at 14, you most likely have started your menses. I know children who have started their menses at the age of 9.
Yeah.
And at the time, if I am to use my experience, the first time we had sex ed was when I was in class 6. And at the time I was 10, 11. And you imagine that at that age, you're being introduced to something that you have probably not experienced yet. So, most of the time it's just like you're not aware, and even if you're informed, you're not really mindful until you experience. But for such cases like Jacqueline, their teachers know them. These teachers, they know their students, and they know how old they are, and they know, like, at this age, if you have not started having your period, you're close enough to starting your period. So not having programs for these kids in this era, because those teachers are educated about these things, they go through these things and they mitigate the process, So why not empower the child, like inform them? Actually, we usually used to have, I remember we'd have separate sex ed sessions, because
That was so weird.
that
by
was
the way.
bad.
That was really
bad,
weird.
because
That's part of the problem.
that's part of the problem. So even then, educate or inform these children from the age of 9. That is my opinion. From the age of 9 to 16 years.
Actually younger, 'cause
Right?
we've met girls as young as 7 years who have started their periods.
What?
The food we are eating, the environment,
Makes sense.
sort of like it makes us become like early bloomers.
Susceptible to that, yeah.
So I think when we put the cap maybe around 7, plus we're living in such a different world from where we grew up in.
That's true.
Like there's social media, there's TV, there's so many vices out here. So it's good to empower them with education as early as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because sex is thrown out in your face all the time.
All the
You've
time.
seen girls in bikinis.
In music videos.
Exactly.
Your favorite music videos. You're listening to lyrics.
Yes.
You because like there's some people who are not exposed to maybe TV,
Yeah.
like digital visual media,
Yes.
but audio media is almost everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have normalized sex and sex talk and everything sex.
It's
Yes.
the basis of Gengeton.
I know.
The basis of Gengeton.
It's so sad that I was watching a show yesterday on Netflix. You're given a grace period of 12 hours to interact and do the most up until those 12 hours are over. Then you're given a curfew for sex, like no sex. You guys just interact and know yourselves. It's so bad because sex is just a swipe away.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and when you watch the show, it's like a guy has seen a lady that they think, okay, they're attractive. They go there, hi, so do you think I'm your type? Yes or no? They make out. And I'm like, do you even know this guy's name? Second name? Like, it's sad. And kids are exposed to that also.
Yeah. And I feel like along with the hypersexualization of the media, there also needs to be an improved, like not even just sex education, improved sex education. And I would like to shout out, because there are things I found out. I would like to shout out our sister podcast, the friends. It's related, I promise. Shout out Julia, Noni, and Sharon. They were talking about, there was an episode they were talking about when they got their first period and all that. And it's so weird that somebody would say they got their first period at 11 and somebody would say they got at like 17.
Yeah.
So for me it was mind-blowing because I was like, it can happen that late. I was not even aware.
Yeah. It can happen even at 20.
There's so much information and knowledge that is tunaambiwanga to the basics.
Yeah.
Like that women bleed once a month. That's it. We have no idea what happens after that, what they use.
There's a guy who on Twitter who was like he thought rather he was of the idea that period inakuja end month kama salary.
Yeah, but there's a person who said that.
Yeah. So like ati demi yako akiwa na attitude end month ana roll. And I'm like, do you even know what you're talking
for
about?
them once a month ni mwisho wa mwezi. Time unapatanga do ndio once a month.
Yeah. There's so many factors to consider in terms of like we have different bodies.
Exactly.
She might have a cycle of 21, 31. I might be
14.
having irregular periods or hormones, sorry.
Exactly.
So and I could go even for 3 months without periods. And if sometimes it makes me feel bad and it makes someone feel like, oh, I'm less of a woman.
Yeah.
When we don't give girls this necessary information, I think we are doing harm than good.
Yeah.
And, just talking to them, because I believe that first period, it sets the trajectory of the girl for a healthy and a vibrant future. So if we don't, help her navigate that transition smoothly with education, empowered, there's always these things that I say, girls have to be empowered to understand that a no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
When you say no and then you just fanya madhogodhanyo with your feet here, the boy will read your body and you're like, aha. I'm coming for you.
This noise a maybe.
Consent, yeah.
Consent and noise, no.
That reminds me of where another conversation I had where we were talking about how it's funny that women complain that men cannot communicate, And they're like, no, actually guys are really smart at this communication thing. Probably even better than us. And the same thing you're saying, when you say no and then you start, like drawing maps uko chini, the guy can tell, okay, so I can try and I can negotiate my way into this no and turn it into a yes. They know, but if you're like, no, you'll be like, okay, cool. Yeah. So we need to, exactly what you're saying, just echoing what you're saying, that teach people how to say no. Sometimes it could be
teach people how to understand.
How to understand. Both men and women.
Women can say no, but the person who she's saying no to doesn't
get
understand and that's exactly what you're saying.
And I feel
it's just no, this is just a temporary door closed.
Yeah.
I'll try the window.
And I feel like when you umesema, it comes like the basic sex education. When people are being educated about sex, manasplitiwa into women, like girls and boys.
Yeah.
And that shows that there's a clear distinction between the two of you, that you guys will learn something different and this guy will learn something different.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because sex involves nyoto wawili, so
to do with like I before even tradition comes to play. So tradition and religion. So in the Bible, just how things are played out and set out, and how there's already segregation from what most of us build our cultures and tradition is from. Either Islam or Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism. So if in the book that you're gaining your traditions and your characteristics, there's already segregation, then that translates into what we
social
live, which
life
is a man's world. And for the longest, it still is a man's world. It's better than how it was before. And so like even the policymakers, majority of them, the ones sitting in a boardroom deciding what's gonna be taxed, whatever. Majority are men and or women who are not even menstruating, so don't even understand the challenges. So that's why it's important to first push the boundaries, challenge the policy makers, show what is happening, because I'll say I didn't know that there was such a thing as period poverty until we started doing this thing. That thing of like, you don't realize how privileged you are, or how like it never crossed my mind. Like, my only alternative when I don't have pads, if my periods have started when I'm out and about, is tissue. Like, I would never think of anything else. Like, that wouldn't even cross my mind. But like, there are people using some really like crazy stuff in this world, and then just that thing, I always say, like, what part of the problem in the period world, as much as even men don't understand, we as women, we're a problem. If I go to the toilet right now and I'm on my periods, I'll be hiding my pad like I have an AK-47.
True.
So just be like, stop, don't hide it. Like, and I have this thing, if my periods start, I'm just gonna be like, if you see that I'm moody, this is why. So don't be like, just know this is the level I'm playing. I'm very open, take it as you, because I want to learn to make it a normal conversation.
And just to interject and say, we did a social experiment with the sauce.
I wanted to ask you about that, Fia, actually.
So I'm walking in town with a very big stain. Of course, food color, it was not period. But we wanted to see like how, people in the streets will react.
Right.
And surprisingly enough, I mean, the men, they're like, umsaidie. Women are like, sasa huu ni nini hajijui. They will come and check again and sasa hiki kisichana kinakaje. Men will just, there's one, we did a replay. She actually saw.
2 times.
She was like, is that what I'm saying? She came back, confirmed. She came again, confirmed, look at me, and then she walked away. Then there was this man on phone. It was like he was running. Like, madam, usipanic. Enda tu kando. Then ask another lady who was walking, msaidie tu. They're like, toa jacket ujifunge. Then we asked him, like, why did you feel the need of helping me? I was like, I understand this thing. I have a wife, I have, sisters, I have a daughter.
Right.
So why should I be ashamed of something so natural? And I feel like there's so much that is needed to be done, especially our moms.
You don't have to whisper.
The age of our moms.
Anaskiza. She's not going to listen to this.
Please tell me everything. Lay bare for me. This is what's gonna happen. As in, don't hush anything. Like, prepare me for these kind of things, because this world it's just waiting for me. When I adult, it's just waiting for me like this. So if you don't arm me with this kind of information, I will always go and shell myself in a cocoon, and I will never be empowered. So I believe it's very important for the new moms, the older moms, the older generation to know that they have a part to play. This culture of concealment, stigma, silence, and shame, it has to end.
Exactly. Shame.
There's something I want to say regarding the guy who Musema. And this is something I just want to say to all the guys who are listening, who are watching maybe, that it's normal. Unajua, one of the weirdest things in my experience ni mtu kusema ati asizienda kubaya dem yangu pads.
Manze.
Ni dem yako. What do you mean unaenda kumbaya? In fact, umuulize, okay, unataka type gani? Which brand is your favorite? Like, you should be able to go to a shop or a supermarket and just pick it out, because
without shame.
Kwani unaibikia nini? I don't understand how kuna shame associated with a natural, like, bodily function. How it's like,
or what do you say?
We are all products of a missing period.
Of
a
missing period.
Hard.
Hey, okay, put that on a t-shirt.
I want to say,
put that on a t-shirt.
Neville Okwaro's, that's where I got it from. His advocate in this country for champs. But he said that once, and I was like,
that is actually a fact.
That's very true.
That's a very smart thing to say.
Factual.
Always remember that, and like, before you're trying to shame a woman, what if one day you get a daughter? Like, in terms of men, I always say this story. My connection with this, and one of the things I try to do is have men in the conversation, have men in the room about it, because I started my periods with with my dad, and just took me to the shop, showed me, I don't know what you need, pick what you need, whatever. He didn't make me feel uncomfortable. I never have I once ever thought like periods is just something that you don't talk. From my dad, I'll say from my dad I didn't learn that, but when I started seeing moms and women hiding their pads, I'm like, oh, okay, this is our conversation. I'm not supposed to talk about the fact I'm on my period. I'm supposed to stay at home. If I'm in, a bad mood, avoid people. We're always taught that. But like my dad, I called my dad and I said, who knew that at the age of 11 you would be top pick of the town? Like, I want to say thank you, because I'm realizing now that I'm actually very privileged. And even up to now, like if I was tired and I wasn't able to go to the shops, my dad, I can call my dad, tell him to pass by, and he'll get me whatever products I need and bring it. So I think like everyone should aspire to be like my father.
Yeah, because that's the thing.
Babalash,
we have Nini. By the shout outs Babalash Faliako. Shout outs Babalash.
Hashtag Babalash.
We need to break that cycle of, as in, it's like at the when it's Nini, when it's periods. That's a woman's thing,
right?
Because we all have women in our lives,
right?
Unless you are an absolute incel, we all have women. Yeah, you came from a woman, and we all have women, mothers, sisters, wives, girlfriends, friends. Just women in our lives,
strangers who are just women.
Yeah, and kubai parties kitu ngumu, and that's one of the weirdest things in my experience.
And like
somebody anapita, like anajua the girlfriend needs pads. Tuko supermarket, tuko Galeria, anazipita, and I'm like, sikuchukue tu. What's so hard about kuchukua? Nobody's gonna think it's yours, clearly. Anadhani ni unaenda kuvaa.
Right.
As in, it's not yours. Everybody knows it's not yours.
Clearly.
You're taking it to somebody who needs it. What's the problem?
Unless you're that strange guy.
Toxic masculinity.
It's not. Hautaandikwa hapa nimebeba
Actually,
pads.
there's a strange guy on Twitter who was like, he shops for pads for himself because they're so comfortable.
What?
He was like, them shits be so comfortable. You niggas should be getting
dress or what?
Guys are weird.
Or maybe he's trans and
No.
he probably menstruates.
Yeah, but he's a typical straight man.
Our
I think he was
producer
just...
is dying.
Do you see his face? Like, this guy was actually influencing.
No, there is pads for
Yeah, the men who menstruate.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Transgenders and binaries.
And non-binary.
Yeah, it's common.
And
I mean, it's not that common, but it does.
it's a thing. Yeah.
I probably be in Kenya, if a man was nyeshaing, I probably atapelekwa kwa witch doctor. Because I swear,
Sangoma.
they were like, uni nani?
Kalumanzira.
Because it's very important that you've mentioned that, because we also have I don't want to call them
Trans. Middle sex. Yeah.
intersex. Thank you, that's what I was looking for. Intersex people, some of them experience menses.
Yeah.
And like you find somebody who's masculine presenting, but their hormones are very much feminine. And I cannot even begin to fathom the level of stigma that they go through.
You don't have to go far. Think of the South African female runner.
Semenya Caster. Yes.
Even right now, she's still.
Imagine,
She's
even at her position, you can imagine.
Well,
She's a global.
imagine, she can't even run races with women because that she has an unfair advantage.
We don't even have to go. The other person is Serena Williams. Also got a lot of stigma for her.
Her masculine
her
build.
body shape.
Yeah.
And which is very, very upsetting, because she's absolutely feminine.
Yeah.
You know.
Very,
She's a
ma'am.
Yeah, you know. And
Yeah, that one too.
And we
That
should
one
have
too?
birthday.
Yeah.
Yes. But like, you know, and to go back to what you were saying, like, why did we have to be split into boys and girls? That shame thing. And also what you said, traditions. Even when we go back to storytelling, tulikuwa tunachapiwa story as girls kando, boys kando. We never right?
The way our houses are built, the kitchen is separate from the living room. Like
Exactly.
all this thing about like, women stay in the kitchen.
Right. Gender roles.
We are
And it's just
homemakers.
those roles, yeah.
Exactly.
The gender roles are amazing.
So with that and shame, because I remember because I was very curious, because for us, the way we were separated, it was just like, there's this class here, then the next class, that's where the boys are being given their own like sex ed. And I would ask after that, nyinyi mlikuwa mnafunzwa nini? Mlikuwa mnaambiwa nini? Kwani mbona tulikuwa tumeachwa separately? Mbona kwa class tukifunzwa maths, English tuko the same class, na ikifika hii sex ed, you don't even want to say sex ed. You don't even want to say sex. You're like
Stigma. Fucking hell.
ed, like, you have to like cover your face to like tone it down when you're saying the word sex. they're like mi hata siwezi kuambia kile tumefundishwa.
Tuliambiwa
Like, kwa nini?
tusiwaambie,
Na tutasema
tuliambiwa
science.
like that was the one
Actually, there are those teachers.
wanakwambia don't tell the
Unaambia
girls
nini
what
hapo?
we're telling
Yeah.
you here.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
which is so funny because you the first sex ed you have like in the Kenyan curriculum is in class 6 science when you're learning about the genital parts, you know,
Biology.
You don't
yeah.
remember?
biology, sindio?
No,
I
was it
think
even
I
biology? Am I
missed
ilikuwa nini?
sex ed.
Science?
No, it was science, just science.
Like
Yeah,
in the
science.
it was science, sindio? In the
It was science.
curriculum.
I missed it because I left here, I think, when it would have been done, and then I got to UK when. So I did not have sex education within a school.
So like for us, for people who like went through
Watoto
844, you know about class 6 science class, like ilikuwa I
But
think
what are you really talking?
chapter, you know how the anatomy rather.
Female reproductive.
It was
That
yeah.
was it. Like,
Basic-
where babies come from.
it was-
fallopian tube.
Well,
Yeah,
show
that
you
was it,
the
yeah.
ovum, you'll
Yeah.
draw the whole uterus.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
basically
Zygote.
anatomy
Yeah.
and like the changes during puberty.
But-
And
but
beyond
you
that,
were
there's
never
nothing
really
else.
taught about sex.
No.
Nope.
The
Which
you know,
goes back
the
to, like-
nitty gritties now.
No. You're just told about fertilization, blah, blah. It's you to join the dots.
Yeah.
And like by the time you're joining the dots, you're in form 3. Ama sijui. Yeah, because that's where it comes back. Sindio?
Yeah, biology now.
Yeah, biology now where like
Now you go
anatomy is a serious.
deeper into hormones and you know
And how the cycle
chromosome,
works, exactly.
You know how comprehensive sex education is important, because if you don't know, you'll believe anything, because there are people legit, like growing up, there are people from Tayetu who used to believe that you can't get pregnant when you have sex the first time. That was like a legit thing watu walikuwa naambiana huko mtaani, and because of how we used to live huko, people are so unsupervised, people are working, like nyinyi watu hii mnacheza tu nje, so you are growing up, sindio, and experiencing all these hormonal changes together under no adult supervision. Like, and then nje mcheze go play, so like unakuja unapata so and so is pregnant, and you're like she's 17.
Yeah.
How did that even happen?
10.
Then kwambiwa like the people who are older preying on younger kids, there was so much that was left out, and so many people who are affected by it being left out, that sometimes I sit back and think like how many lives could have been changed kama hiyo class 6 tungeambiwa now this is what happens, this is how it goes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have I won't go into who it is, but there's someone I know, I'll put it that way. The parents found out she had a boyfriend and they relocated town.
What?
Yeah. And then she got with another boyfriend and got pregnant. I think she got pregnant when she was 17. I'm like, you guys clearly were missing the boat. Just taking someone out of a situation is not going to change the situation. You need to talk to them about why you're taking them out. Because clearly for her, she was like, oh, I'm rebelling, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to do exactly what they don't want me to. And the thing they feared the most
happened.
It's unfortunate.
And as in ukikaa tunaye, just sit down and talk.
They don't explain to her, like, you know, this happens, you start getting feelings for guys, you know, you get these tingling sensations in different parts of your body. This is what it means. You know, talking about that and how to deal with it. I've my first boyfriend, I asked my mom, I was like, oh, this guy has written me a letter, has asked me, what do you think of? Of course, my mom's saying no, but
Yeah.
the opposite. But like that comfortability of being able to go to your parent, and exactly what you're saying about normalizing those conversations within parents. My dad had always taught us that, like, if you start accepting favors from men, it might cost you later. If ever you need anything, come to me first. I say no and you blame me for the choices, rather than me still being here and, you know, you're perambulating with different guys and whatever. And I think it's just where parents need to normalize this, because if I learn from Netflix, if I learn from watching people do what they do, if I learn from your conversation telling me, I'm going to piece so many things, and
You'll be
I
so
might not even
confused.
realize, oh, did I need to ask for consent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Did I, like, you know, all these things. And I think it has to start with the parent before we go to the school.
Yeah. And even like with the predatory culture that happens, you know, for most cultures, most traditional cultures, you find that once they realize that you've started rolling or you've started your menses,
you cannot be married off.
You're a woman.
You're a woman,
You
of
know,
course. Yeah.
we have to clear that this does not mean I'm a woman. Surely at 9, what do I know? at 7, what do I know about even sex?
Yeah.
And then you have up
Let's not
50,
even go.
right? You don't even know how your body works. Sometimes you're in the mood
Yeah.
and you're like, what is happening to my body? Even at your big age, the way we say, you could be 30 something, you're moody, you're crying, you're like, why am I crying?
Yeah.
You know,
Why are you
like
rolling?
I've just been paid. I'm supposed to be happy, but like I'm crying. Why am I crying in the club? Do you get that?
We all
So
had that.
it's you know it's so confusing. So these conversations they go beyond what we think, what we imagine, because and the inclusion is so important as well. So that even these guys,
And I think, sorry to interject.
it's okay.
Men need to check other men, and also us women need to check other women. But I think more so, I'm gonna talk because I'm from a female point of view. But I feel like in your WhatsApp conversations or in voice conversations, honestly speaking, if females were flies in the wall in that we would be mortified. Like we are objectified,
So
we
mortified.
we are just seen as like the bottom of the barrel. And the way these conversations, the boys club conversations,
Right.
that needs to change. If your boy, check them,
Right.
check them. Be that person that challenges them, challenges their thinking. Heri akuchukie, but like, you know, just challenge that person and check them. Check their, like, maybe they have a mental health issue, and you know, if someone is beating someone, you know, someone thinks it's okay. Like, honestly speaking, like, as men, you need to check each other, because you could be going through so many things or thinking things are normal and it's okay, but it actually isn't.
Yeah.
You know, as a man, me mwenyewe personally, my first like real exposure to what sex was when I was, I think, 9. I was at a neighbor's place, and they were older boys. They were like in high school that time, them. So we're just playing with like one of the brothers, and then we go inside and we see all these boys just sitting down. They're watching a porn movie. That was the first time. My first exposure to sex was that, and it was just basically objectification of women.
Right.
So, and that is the first thing we make one now, the first exposure to anything like that. So that is the building block of what you have of sex and relationship with a woman. So you grow up thinking that is how women are treated, and that is how women are supposed to be. And to unlearn that is so hard. Hard is easy. Like, you still get caught in that trap, and you realize, oh my god, I'm doing this again, or like I'm falling into old habits. So for even me to at least be aware of that, you would realize how hard it is for so many people out there who have never understood that, or who will never admit that they have an issue. That's the first thing. The people who know they have a problem and don't care, and the people who don't know they have a problem.
Yeah.
And
I think the bigger task.
No, it's the toxic masculinity, which you mentioned, that you don't want to look weak in front of your boys. And, you know, be called like, oh, like,
you know, one of the
why you
weirdest
acting
things.
like such a-
One of the weirdest things. I like to cook.
But anyway, why you acting like?
I like to cook a lot, and it's such a weird thing for other men who find out, like, oh, una pikanga. So what does your sister do?
Survival tactic.
What does your mom do? As in, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to dance with me nikipika? Or like what? See, they just sit and wait for
Celebrating
food.
you.
Like, if I want to cook for myself, I cook for myself. I can come into the house and party like, oh, they've cooked matoke. I don't feel like eating matoke. What's in the fridge?
And
there's meat, there's eggs, there's tomato. I'll make shakshuka. I'll go eat. Like,
and you know the worst part is
His favorite.
of all the things.
His favorite.
my favorite thing is ham and pineapple fried rice.
And it's kind of
Okay,
sad,
sour.
right? It's sad. that
Ramsey.
aka top chef.
AKA Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay would
you
never.
flatter me. You flatter me.
Gordon Ramsay alikuwa na copy notes zako hivi.
You know?
You've seen the
meme. And it's so unfortunate that you have to explain that.
That's weird.
You know, like it's a survival tactic. Like, you know,
It's a life skill.
Actually,
Actually, it's a life skill.
Yeah.
It's a life skill.
Alafu mwanaume mwingine anasema
You know.
In your clothes,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, what, like, good for you, power to you, but like, okay, and then
yeah.
next, what can you breathe like the rest of
And
us?
even,
You
like,
know-
there's some women who don't know how to cook or are not interested.
Right.
Exactly. And then again, coming back to you, I think it's a self-reliance thing, because you know, you can't wait for a woman to cook for you all the time. Like, you have 2 hands, yeah, you have a stomach to fill, so do it for yourself.
Right.
Yeah. I always say assistance, even if like I'm a woman or I'm a wife. I mean, me having that, I feel like I have to cook for someone, I have to clear the table. Apana.
It's called the call of submission. That's what it is.
You don't
answer. The Proverbs 31 kind of woman. Me, I don't subscribe to that.
Wow,
I was not
hakuna
taught.
place
I was not
I was
taught.
not
Bible imesema uchukue sahani ati juu wewe uko in the middle of doing your assignment or whatever na mtu amemaliza kukula si achukue tu apeleke kitchen,
atapata fever.
even clean after yourself, it's fine. Yeah.
And
Kuna mtaagri ashindao ni nani wako kuleo.
That's bars.
But that's the thing. And again, to go back to our original point, if we worry vituka hizi zinatusumbua huku, and like you guys have just told me mlikuwa Marsabit just recently, sindio?
Yeah.
And the things you're talking about now, ukianza kuzifikiria, these are problems that are affecting us, but watu wako huko nje, they're worrying about even the most basic things that tufikiriangi sisi. So I want us mtuambie, like, how was the trip? What did you see? What learning experience did you get?
The culture shock.
And the difference, kuishi Nairobi na kuishi Marsabit, Kenya uliona.
Yeah. So with Heels4pads, we've been to around 7 counties. But I think the place that we learned more in terms of like, how women are viewed, what duties women are supposed to do, in terms of like they don't have a choice, their voices are like non-existent. I think Marsabit and Samburu is 2 counties where I was like, hey, natuko 2020 and women are like this. It's unacceptable. Yeah.
For me, I think I said this to Mo and I said this to my mom, and there's one day I think I just went back. We went back after doing our distribution, and I just cried, and I just, for once in my life, I actually felt like being a female is a curse, because we in this room, women in this room, and the men in this room, there's the fight for equality, right? So that's our discussion in this room, like I want equal pay. Their fight is education. Yeah. Just basic education. Not to be married off. And the saddest story we had from AMREF, who have a project called Kota in Jena, where they focus on having those conversations of FGM and early marriage in the community. They had an 8-year-old who ran away 42 kilometers away from her home. And she was running away because she knew that she was going to be married off. And she knew that she was going to experience FGM. So if you undergo FGM, you get married immediately. And I was saying, like, I was thinking to myself, like, hey, I just thought about my BMX not getting caught with my mom playing with, like, the boys in the neighborhood. And I didn't even know about, like, male genitalia and female like, that wasn't even in my mind. Like, I didn't even know what marriage was. I just thought my mom and dad are married. Yeah, cool. I didn't have no understanding of that. And so going back to answering your question, like, I feel like Northern Kenya is a country on its own, and then there's the rest of Kenya. Like, their challenges for a girl are like so much more difficult, and like, I guess it's what maybe the people in our society have fought for us to not experience. So to me, it's foreign, and so I started to change how I approached how I spoke to them, because you can be speaking to them, but you're speaking to them from a privileged point of view because their fight is so different. So the thing that we started to do is to talk to them about, like, mental space, what their body is supposed to be, how they're supposed to honor and take care of their body, their minds and all that, because that's their challenge first before we start talking about everything else.
Yeah, basically self-awareness. So because the girls, they have to understand that they have a voice and a choice.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm from there. Like, people who know me know names are like Shags go to Marsabit, and there are stories I could tell you about, like family that would break your heart, but that's a story for another time. So yeah, I wanted to know, how has COVID affected Heels4pads? Alafu, after that, what is like your proudest like achievement or moment, like through this whole journey, as Sister speaks, through the whole Heels4pads, everything? What day mlifika usiku when you got home, sindio, took off your heels, kaka chini ukasema, yes, today I did good?
What was your first question? I got lost.
So we'll talk about
how COVID has affected the
COVID.
whole process.
Yeah, so I feel like the existing challenges that have been affecting girls and women in terms of like early forced marriages, early pregnancies, period poverty, they've been exacerbated by the pandemic. And now with the lockdown, it feels like people who have been offering help to these girls, especially with school closure, like the girls don't have access to information, to pads, sometimes because of loss of livelihoods in terms of like their parents have been retrenched or they have lost their business because of COVID, so they don't have like money, so it's become very hard. So the communities are looking at girls as objects. So it's like, oh, I have 4 girls, okay, I will sell this one, I'll marry this one off for a few goats, unfortunately. And now there's been like a surge in terms of those practices.
Even like remember there was a time when they were putting out early pregnancies, like teenage pregnancy stats, and it was
the stats are ridiculous.
unreal. I mean, like, this is some ini kitu ya kawaida. And then you know, the weirdest thing for me is like people are saying that you need better sex ed. No, you need to arrest these rapists.
Exactly. Yeah. It's unfortunate. And I think now what this pandemic has taught us, especially, you know, our new, or rather the upcoming pads drive we have, it came as a result of the story that was done by one of the news stations about the increasing pregnancy cases where girls are trading sex for pads. As in, how can that be happening in 2020?
In Kenya?
It's unreal.
Yeah.
So we'll be going to Baringo.
Yeah.
You'll be going to Baringo?
Yeah,
That's
on
wonderful.
the 11th, which is the week of the International Day of the Girl. This year's theme is to remind the girls they have a voice. So don't get married off, don't engage in sex. Just wait until the school open and then you can go.
11th October?
Yeah, but it runs for the whole week.
Oh,
Okay.
next week Sunday. So,
Yeah.
I think this episode will be out by then. So I think we'll just put your info. You guys will follow you. They find out how they can donate, because if you can help, please do. That's the most
Also,
important
that's
thing.
what I wanted to ask. Like, how can we, as Surviving Nairobi, be of help? Like, how can we be instrumental in that? Not in the like international, not in the event, but like in the cause that you guys are taking on.
So
How
if
do
you
you
want to
suggest?
follow our work, you can find us across all social media platforms at Sister Speaks 254. That's on Twitter and on Instagram at Heels4pads, H Viatu, then number 4 PADS, Heels4pads. Can be a hashtag or the handle itself. You can also, if you have 50 bob to to buy a girl a packet of pads, you can send it to Paybill 530-5131. 530-100.
Don't worry, we'll have that.
We'll have all that info,
H4P.
Yeah.
And let's end period poverty together.
So in terms of, I guess, our success stories, God,
Yeah,
we have
like-
many. God, we have many.
That's
But put it like that's the thing. Toot your own horn. If you're doing good, like, be proud of it.
We have to. So I'll talk for one for Heels4pads and I guess one for Sister Speaks. So Sister Speaks, I guess, is the sisters market. That for us was an actualization of an idea that we had imagined with another person who's open to celebrating women and just getting all these brilliant minds in one room and learning from them, listening to their stories, and just actually coming up with a plan in 3 weeks and rolling it, and just seeing all these human beings just come in, and not just you or my friend, people that we don't even know. So for that, I think I would say Sister Speaks, that was our greatest success stories, one of the biggest highlights is for Heels4pads. I think it would be where it was just something that we were gonna do as a CSR, and an idea that we just came together as sisters to try and help other girls, but to find ourselves at a stage in London because someone believed in us. So Heels4pads was championed by Miss World Kenya, and she's still our Goodwill brand ambassador.
What?
So I think for us, just getting there, and I personally had the opportunity to go and watch the ceremony take place, and I even get emotional now. I'm gonna try not to cry, but like just hearing watching the video and hearing our stories. So I think that would be the
That's
highlight.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Then again,
unbelievable.
14 months later, almost 9,000 girls empowered with menstrual education and sanitary pads.
What?
As in,
Why are you saying it's so like?
yeah.
I
you know,
just had
like
some water
9,000
and some veggies.
You know,
no.
if you can impact one life in this world, peke yake,
That's a lot.
you've done a
Yeah.
lot.
Imagine
9,000. You have changed the course of 9,000 girls' lives by
That's
the
a
Nukweli.
lot.
In 7
And that is
countries.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
and that is amazing. And for me,
And that wasn't even the target. We didn't have a target. We just we're just rolling with it.
that is
We
absolutely
were,
amazing.
doing on 28th International Menstrual Hygiene Day, and then and we were and then we were like, okay, let's just do this. We are good with the Lord. Da-da.
No.
Then in a week's time, we were trending. The next minute, radio interviews, TV interviews, Miss World Kenya, as in, it's crazy how this journey has been. But I believe when you're doing the right thing, people gravitate to you.
The universe aligns things for you.
And
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
And like, may the Almighty God bless you.
But they, like, let's send that 9,000
That
to
is-
90,000
Yes.
to 900,000 to 9 million.
Yeah.
Like, because there's something I realized. You lose nothing by helping the next person. You lose absolutely nothing by helping the next person. So,
Yeah.
uplift you, just a single act, venye umesema, just your 50 bob could impact somebody's life completely different. Unaweza change the trajectory ya maisha yake completely. And
Yeah.
it means nothing to you because
Oh.
to use just 50 bob, sindio, ungeenda buy smoky labda, but credit something unnecessary too.
Via M-Pesa kwanza.
But-
not even cash.
Ujeki ungebuy chocolate but hiyo 50 bob tu peke yake, you just give, because the moment you give, somebody's life out there itachangiwa completely.
That's true.
And you lose nothing.
It's crazy how far little can go.
Yeah,
Every little counts. So
yeah,
that's
ile kidogo tu.
we have so much appreciation to public support because majority of our support has been public and to the corporates that have chosen to work with us. And and maybe one day we will get to the figure that you're talking about and sit here again and tell you about our story.
Oh, it would be so
I'd
nice.
be so happy nikisikia tu, like hata ikienda tu 9,001 I'm glad.
Right?
Hata ikienda just one
That's
more
a
person, because
milestone and a half.
every life matters by the.
And thank you guys, like, for, I can imagine sometimes how straining it could be, because having to forfeit your personal lives to give yourself for this greater good. I know it's not easy, in as much as you don't mind, but it's not easy. You have to put your life on hold sometimes, right?
You drop your life for 2 weeks
Everything.
and under 41 degrees in Marsabit, in the middle of Chabi Desert. Yeah, it's
Thank
I know
you so
I know
much
what she's
for
talking
doing
about, and
Hey,
trust me,
that was-
it is the hottest place in the world.
Jesus.
Trust me.
And that was the coldest month.
yeah.
Yeah, in
So
July.
I would not want to know what it's like in January.
January.
Yeah. So thank you so much for doing this for those girls, and like for impacting their lives and challenging the quote unquote status quo.
Yeah, you have to.
Has to.
It has to be. And thank you for doing the work. We see you, we appreciate you. We will support you in whatever way we
Yeah,
can.
exactly.
There's some people who are not aware of who Sister Speaks were, but hopefully after this podcast, after this episode, they will be informed.
Yeah, and-
like, we hope that we can be able to keep the fire burning.
Please donate.
Yeah.
And also please donate, because
Thank you so
every
much.
little you give,
Wow.
like, it goes a long way.
We have a 10 friends challenge. So you donate 100, challenge other 9 of your friends to donate 100, and together you'll have all bought a Dignity kit. So, that's one way of coming together and challenging your friends, and that friend will also challenge another 10 friends. And the little that you do, you're holding another girl, not physically, but in your own
Yeah.
way.
And Ivy, I think maybe music break this episode. Utuchoche, just play female artists peke yake.
Kwani, by the way, me and Hafari are kindred spirits.
On the same wavelength.
We are always on the same wavelength. Like, that was the exact idea I had for this music break for this episode. Also, I wanted to inquire about menstrual cups. Have you guys been able to get around that?
Menstrual cups cost about 2,500 between 3,000. The issue with that, they're first of all not. I don't know if. Okay, I don't want to mention the brand, but there's a brand here, but I'm not sure if it's made locally, so I'm not gonna add to it. But the challenge before, yes, the cup is great in terms of the fact that it's reusable, it lasts for 5 years. So in terms of financial situations, it helps in that matter. But the people you are going to sometimes don't even know what a pad is, have never even known what a tampon is, and those are the same people maybe going to go undergo FGM. So their thought is it's going to break
Their virginity.
Virginity. Yeah, because that's
So-
another whole.
It's invasive in terms
Yeah.
of like girls, but for middle-aged women, it's perfectly fine. But are you able to clean it to maintain the highest hygiene? Because that's another question. You have to have a lot of water
Right.
and understand that it can have a lot of bacteria, so have to be
Right.
par in terms of hygiene.
Oh my god.
So we can't give that to girls. And then there's a whole big question around reusable pads, which we think it's
valid.
it's valid.
It's 2 and 2.
But if you're visiting like arid and semi-arid areas, then it's a concern because of
It's a
water.
concern, but then also from a disposable point of view, there's waste management issues. So there's no taka person coming
Right.
to collect. So
Yeah.
you'll find
A goat
pad
eating a
and
pad
trash,
or
plastic
pad
bottles
hanging everywhere. Yeah.
Right.
They can't keep throwing it in the latrine toilet. It's gonna get full up and stuff.
Right.
So it's still one of those conversations. So from climate, being good for the environment, that's the way to go. But if there's an issue of pad, there's an issue of water. They go hand in hand. If you talk about MHM, you're also talking about SRH, sexual reproductive health. You're
Right.
talking about water and sanitary. So they're all going hand in hand. Some areas that's a good option. Some areas the other option of disposable might be better. But the one common problem is the wide period poverty. So finance is the biggest issue.
Okay.
So I think with that, Ivy, cheza kama wewe, si ndio? The return of the queen.
Say less. Oh wow, love the ring to that.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
it's time for the music break. And we are back from the music break. So today's like kufunga. We're not gonna talk much. Just gonna let Mo and Lush just plug everything, because I believe what they're doing is really good work, and everybody needs to hear it and how they can help.
So you can just donate what you can from 50 bob, or you can be part of the 10 friends challenge, which is you donate 100 and you get 9 other people to donate 100 with you, which works out to be 1,000, which will buy a dignity kit. In a dignity kit, there's pads, there's panties, there's soap, and there's a reusable mask. And all this is going to Baringo, where we'll be visiting 2,000 girls in 7 villages. And this is just to tackle the issue of a news story that came out 2 months ago, where girls are trading sex for pads, and teenage girls have been pregnant from like age of 11. She'll plug where you can donate.
Yeah, you can also donate in kind. You can donate panties. You can donate reusable or disposable pads. You can also donate masks. You can follow us across all social media platforms.
It'll be down here.
Yeah, down in the description.
Yeah, down in the description. It'll
below.
be there.
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah.
And so if you want to buy a box of pads, it's at 17.50, which gives you 48 packets. And just honestly, there's power in sharing. If you see our flyers, share with other people. If you want to take your camera and talk about what we're doing, do so and share. Like a lot of the money that we receive purely comes from the power of sharing. You can do it in whatever platform you choose to do.
Yeah, and above all, normalize periods.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Before we go, I just want to say something. We have thousands of people who listen to this show, so many of you, and we appreciate all of you. And for the first time to ask Musa, like, just support, give what you can, because you're going to impact lives beyond what you can even imagine. So please, if you're listening to this, just give whatever you can. The
This is
50
bigger
bob,
than you.
the 100 bob, whatever. You're putting out positive energy and changing lives. So please, if you're listening to this right now, donate. All the information is going to be down here. send something. You can buy the dignity
Kit, you
kit.
can
Dignity.
even buy masks.
Yeah, masks, everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can buy a mask. We sell masks, the 3-ply masks.
Yeah.
Which are $250. You can choose to buy soap. We need soap to take
Yeah.
to the girls.
Yeah.
And
whatever you are able to do.
Just
if
do
you're
it.
not even able to donate,
share. Yeah.
Right. It
If
will
you
go a
want
long
to
way.
do like a long-term partnership,
Mhm.
we're gonna link the
Yeah.
email address.
All the info is
we'll-
gonna be here.
Yeah. If you're individual, corporate, we can do this together.
Right.
And if you are, to all our listeners abroad, send Vico.
Yeah.
Don't be
we
afraid.
have a
Akasha?
GoFundMe link,
Yeah.
Also,
and we have Just Giving link.
Yeah.
So we have links that they can donate to, or donation pages that might be suitable for them. And if they choose to wanna send directly to our phone, we can give you
Yeah.
details.
Yeah.
And just want to say thanks to you guys coming. This is probably like, I think, the most impactful episode tumefanya. And I really hope that just by having you guys here, we're able to change lives and just impact them positively. And I'm just happy that we record.
Yeah.
I'm just really
For the
happy.
opportunity.
Yeah. I'm glad
You're
that
always welcome. By the, if you want us to plug anything of yours, anything, kitu yote mko nayo, an event, a trip, you just need guys to donate, please let us know. We have no issue plugging you guys.
thank you for the
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making the time
Mm.
to even come and talk to us about the whole cause and your vision and what you plan to do, and for the much that you've done. We really appreciate you, and we will support wherever we can.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
whatever
for
we can
your
do to
time.
support, we will. And with that, guys,
Peace.
see you next week.